When I mention the name Robin Williams, the endearing and lasting memories of people venture down a few different roads. Some people conjure fond memories of children's movies like Aladdin, Hook, Popeye, Jumanji, or they respect Robin Williams' performance in serious roles like The World According to Garp, Insomnia, Good Will Hunting, and of course Dead Poets Society, the movie Robin publicly stated and admitted on MTV to be his all-time favorite. And it's also one of my all-time favorites. And yet others will release an unstoppable grin when they recall the hilarity and creativity of Robin Williams' comedic roles in Stepmom, The Fisher King, and Good Morning Vietnam. Whether in my personal life, professional life as a salesperson, or a semi-professional life, my endeavors as a writer, or on YouTube, people can readily see the heartfelt influence of Robin Williams.
Why do I stand up here? Anybody?
To feel taller.
No. Thank you for playing, Mr. Dalton.
A sarcastic yet playful yet respectful "thanks for playing" can often be heard in one of my World of Warcraft or Guild Wars 2 videos. It's a tribute to Robin Williams, a man whose inexhaustible passion to make others laugh and fearless effort that he puts out on stage, on TV, and movies. It's something I've always greatly respected and appreciated about Robin Williams. As an overweight child growing up, Robin didn't really have a lot of friends. To compensate, he created imaginary friends, and he gave them a personality as well as a voice. In high school, he won 2 very prestigious awards: funniest guy in class and the least likely to succeed. After graduation, Robin, didn't enroll in college, much to his parents' dismay and horror. Instead, he attended Juilliard, where he met his lifelong friend Superman, aka Christopher Reeve, and listened to the advice of famous director John Huston, who said, and I specifically quote, "You're wasting your time as an actor. You should be definitely doing stand-up comedy." Heeding John Huston's advice, Robin quit Juilliard and headed west, where he inevitably grinded and flaunted his comedic talent on stage in the San Francisco stand-up comedy circuit. After a few years as a struggling comic in San Francisco, the golden opportunity of every performer and entertainer stepped up and presented itself. Gary Marshall, a producer of respectable and memorable sitcoms in the 70s like Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley, as well as a very forgettable sitcom in the 80s, Joni Loves Chachi, Gary Marshall basically gave Robin a shot and gave him an audition for the guest appearance of Mork on Happy Days. Robin walked into the audition. Gary Marshall said, "Please have a seat, Mr. Williams. We'll be right with you." Robin then proceeded to sit on a chair on his head. Gary Marshall burst out into uncontrollable laughter and just had to ask the question, "Why are you sitting on your head?" Optimizing the moment, Robin responded, "That's how people from Ork sit." The rating for the Happy Days episode in which Robin appeared went through the roof. They gave him a second appearance on the show and then decided, we got to get this guy his own TV show. 1978, 79, and 80 are significant years in Robin Williams' career because they propelled him towards stardom. They kind of put him on the doorstep of stardom. 1978, Mork and Mindy. That really put him on the map. He received $35,000 per episode for Mork and Mindy. Now you're talking about 25 episodes a season, and this is a time, 36 years ago, 35,000. So you know how much that probably, with inflation and all that crazy shit, translates into today's dollars. 1979, he released one of his first very, very successful stand-up comedy albums called Reality. What a concept. And 1980, his first big movie role, the role of Popeye. But speaking of movies, I will talk more about Robin Williams' career later on in a video, but I wanted to talk about Dead Poet Society because this is one of my all-time favorite movies, and Williams' performance is brilliant, and there's a saying in the movie which was often said at a lot of his eulogies when he died, and that phrase is, "Oh, Captain, my Captain." A little bit of a spoiler alert here, because if this is a movie you want to see, this is kind of, sort of, borderline a spoiler. Not completely, but borderline. But the scene is epic, and it is amazing, and I'll come back to you in a minute or two.
Mr. Keating, they made everybody
Quiet, Mr.
sign.
Anderson.
You gotta believe me, it's true.
I do believe you, Tom.
Leave, Mr. Keating.
But it wasn't his fault.
Sit down, Mr. Anderson. One more outburst from you or anyone else, and you're out of this school. Leave, Mr. Keating.
Captain, my captain.
Sit down, Mr. Anderson. You hear me? Sit down. Sit down. This is your final warning, Anderson. How dare you? You hear me?
Oh, Captain, my captain.
Mr. Overstreet, I warn you. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. All of you. I want you seated. Sit down. Leave, Mr. Keating. All of you. Down. I want you seated. Do you hear me? Sit down.
Thank you, boys. Thank you.
The last kid to stand up, the kid with the crew cut, didn't exactly subscribe or buy into what Robin Williams was preaching, what he was teaching about poetry being the fruit of life, about poetry needing to be something that you live and breathe. He was just more of a practical kid. Now, he didn't cut up in Robin's class or didn't vocally or rudely patronize or ridicule him. He just kind of did a passive-aggressive kind of thing with some frowns. And there was a scene in the movie where he had each of the kids write a poem, and the kid's poem was, "The cat sat on the mat." I mean, just brilliant, literature. And the point is, when he stands at the end of that scene, it is just so, I'm a little bit choked up. I mean, it is just so moving because he doesn't agree with Robin, but he respects him. He respects what Robin believed in that movie, and he respects what Robin meant to those kids, and he respects what Robin Williams taught about poetry and the beauty of life. And that's why he stands up. It's easy when people believe what you believe or like what you like. But you know what? When they really don't like what you like, and they don't believe what you believe, but they still respect you, as far as I'm concerned, there is no greater compliment in life to receive. There really isn't. Now, Captain, my captain, when they all stand on the thing, and they stand on their desk and they say, "Oh, Captain, my captain," as a salute to Robin Williams. That comes from a poem from Walt Whitman. And I linked the poem in the description if you have a sense of history or literature and you want to see what it's about. But Whitman wrote the poem as a tribute to Abraham Lincoln when Lincoln was shot. So the Captain, my captain was something in the beginning of the movie when the kids show Robin Williams his high school picture because he attended the school that they are attending and now he's a teacher there. And they show him his high school picture and he says, "Do me a favor, bury that," because he's embarrassed. And then they ask something like, what is the Dead Poet Society about? What is that about? And he told them about sucking the marrow out of life and appreciating poetry. And he said how it was important to do that. And I greatly, greatly agree with that. Hence the phrase Carpe Diem, which was not originated in this movie, but certainly was renesated and echoed in this movie. Carpe Diem, meaning seize the day. And one of the first poems that he talked about was this Whitman poem, this tribute to Abraham Lincoln. And he referred to Lincoln as Captain, oh Captain, my Captain. And that's what Robin Williams wanted the kids to refer to him as, oh Captain, my Captain. And as I said before, that was a phrase that was often used in eulogies to Robin Williams. They knew that this was his favorite movie to create, to act in, and hence the phrase, oh Captain, my Captain. I've always had a tremendous amount of respect and appreciation for everything Robin Williams did, whether it was a comedic role, a serious role, whether he was doing stand-up comedy on stage. And I strongly urge and recommend people just look on YouTube to try and see Robin Williams live at the Met from the late 80s. It is a brilliant stand-up piece. I mean, a lot of it is very relevant to the 80s, but it's still relevant today, and it's just absolutely hysterical. It's the funniest stand-up comedy show I've ever seen on HBO, and I just simply adore it. And movies that he was in, Good Will Hunting and Dead Poets Society and A World According to Garp, three of my all-time favorites that have greatly inspired and influenced me as a person, as a salesman, as a writer, and even on YouTube. Because one of the big things I try to do, what makes YouTube worthy for me and valuable for me and a purpose for me, is to make people laugh. That's what's really important to me. And I hope I do that. And as you can see, this pen is coming towards you. I want you people to seize the day, carpe diem, and write your own script. And be bold and fearless and daring, much like Robin Williams was. Take chances, suck the marrow out of life. Luxley out.